To be 16 years old and manager of a produce department is quite an accomplishment. But for Teresa Suit, it's just another day on the job, and a noisy one at that. Teresa, along with her brother Dealey and mother Jean, own and operate Suit's fruit stand 7 days a week, 14 hours a day on Highway 231 in Morgan County. For Teresa, whose dad is a truck farmer, this is about all she's ever done, and she loves it.
Yeah, I learned how to sell, learned how to make money, and sometimes you have a few picky ones that want to, pick over the stuff and change it around, but it's fun, and I like talking to people. No, the traffic don't bother me that much. It's sometimes the people that come in and, they want to be smart and want to pick over things, want to change things, and, they just act smart about it.
How much are the peaches?
$2.
$2?
Uh-huh.
A basket?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
With these big baskets right here, they're $8.
$8.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll take a $2 basket.
Okay.
A friendly smile, a welcome wave, plus fresh off the vine fruit and vegetables are what customers have come to expect out of the roadside stand operated by the Suit family.
So it ain't the produce department at Piggly Wiggly or Food World or Kroger's. Service here is much more friendlier. Keep waving, these are good people. It's just a bit more noisier. It's kind of loud here, isn't it? At Suit's fruit stand in Morgan County, every country over. Howdy, Jamie Cooper. Y'all know any of these people?
Yeah.
Talk to him. To her.
Ew, I don't like that really dry.
The Courthouse Square in Pulaski, Tennessee was the place to be Friday night if you're a milk lover. It was the 3rd annual Main Street Dairy Night with the downtown merchants sponsoring all sorts of milk-related activities. The ice cream making contest was just one, with flavors like nut and honey and Tutti Frutti sherbet competing for first place.
How do you get chosen for a job like this?
I think we were drafted, but I don't know, maybe they picked the one they thought was the biggest eater.
We have.
Get that camera out of my face!
And what would a dairy night be without an ice cream eating contest?
Mark, get set, go.
The heavyweights are always the last to compete. They make the biggest mess. This year's competition featured last year's champ, Marcus Moose Brown.
This is the Mighty Milk Drop, and it's Dairy Day in Pulaski, Tennessee, and it's kind of a salute to Dairy Month in Giles County, and it's all part of getting everybody back downtown for a little activity.
The featured event on the Courthouse Square was the Mighty Milk Drop, where a half-gallon of Purity's Finest is dropped some 20 feet into the awaiting jug of the holder.
There's a couple things you can say about the fine folks here in Pulaski. They know how to have a good time, and you don't hear them crying over spilled milk. In Pulaski, we got your over. Jamie Cooper. About the Tip Top.
Oh, it's a fine place. It's fine people hangs around up here.
James Red Rider Riggin just described a Huntsville landmark, Church's Tip Top Cafe. Opened in 1944 by Dick Church, the Tip Top at that time was one of the few places where beer was served. The Tip Top slogan was, home of the coldest beer and best barbecue in town. Located near the old Lincoln Mill and Village, the Tip Top was in its time the place to be.
I remember a lot of things that people told me. One of the things, I had a beer box as a bassinet when I was a baby. My grandmother told me I drank my first beer when I was 2 years old underneath the bar here.
Jeff Church, grandson of the original owner, practically grew up in the Tip Top. His brother Lance has now reopened the old cafe and has high hopes of continuing its reputation.
It's changed a little bit. A lot of the people are gone now that used to come in here a long time ago. But a lot of them has been coming here ever since it's opened.
The 123 Maple Street Cafe has long been a hideaway for local businessmen, and no one knows that better than the father of Jeff and Lance, Marshall Church.
We're just a kind of a meeting place for the Lincoln Village and people from over in Dallas Mill, too. They didn't have a place like this, so they would come over here. We let them if there's good.
So it's kind of a landmark.
Right.
Jeff Church doesn't sleep in a beer box here anymore, and you can't get a cold beer and a barbecue for 50 cents like you once could. But you can still use this place as your favorite hideaway, and a lot of people still do. At the Tip Top Cafe, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
There's not a whole lot to the small community of Greenbrier, but one thing that is here is one of the best eating places anywhere to be found. Greenbrier Barbecue.
I have served Walter Mondale at this table right here.
Just my knife, Linda.
Sitting right here.
Pat Dempster is just one that has helped make Greenbrier the favorite eating place of many.
Jamie, it's just like you get in this place and with these people, and you become a family. I mean, we just feel like we're just one big family. And that's just the way it is.
Pat, along with others like Leona Pack, Ruby Kennington, and Joanne Hogan, have each spent a good 20 years or more building the Greenbrier reputation.
How come all these people come from all around here?
Well, they like good food, good service. All us good-looking girls.
Greenbrier for the past 25 years has been owned and operated by Margaret Ma Brazette. The catfish, barbecue chicken, and pork are all under her direction.
When we first opened, me and one more lady, the one that sit right over there, run this by herself during the week. I'd take orders and go back and cook it. So it was two of us during the week.
How many customers would you have?
Oh, maybe 10, 15 a day, 20.
All you got to do to make people happy is give them good service and good food. Price ain't got nothing to do with it. Don't worry about the price, just feed them.
How often do you eat in here?
Every day.
Food is real good, the atmosphere is friendly, can't beat it.
Tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, Greenbrier, as we've known it for years, will close its doors. But within a month, in a new location on Highway 20, Greenbrier will reopen and be ready for business.
With same food.
Same food and same people.
The same good old people.
Hey, Greenbrier, your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Give me another one in push button.
We get no TV,
Ross Graydon Lumber Company may never be the same, at least not after what went on there Saturday. It was far from being a June jam, but it was live entertainment at its best. The Baby Boomer Band, also known as the Malibus, put on an oldie show like never seen before, all to help celebrate the 66th birthday of Ross Graydon. The crowd loved it.
I love it, literally. It's a baby, and I come over here to see you.
And the band, I hope.
That's right, that's what I'm saying.
Among the crowd were a couple of so-called entertainers themselves.
That's good, babe, that's good. You like this kind of music, too?
Yeah,
Is it something to get up and crow about?
not really.
They play my kind of music.
No one was more happier than the owners of the company that had sponsored this fun-filled, entertaining day, and of all places, a lumber company.
I love it. I like that kind of music. Not much of a country music man, but this is my kind of music.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been beyond what we expected, I'll put it that way.
Jamie Cooper's here, and we had a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. As you can tell, I don't sing or dance. I'm just glad to be here. And I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper, and this is the Baby Boomer Band. Thank y'all.
While you're getting that going, I'm going to get the fire started. Let's go get some oil.
This is W.J. Russell's time of year. The time of year when he's got more than he can do. W.J. Russell is a barbecue expert, and folks travel from all around to visit Russell's Pit Barbecue in Bryson, Tennessee. The 71-year-old Russell usually only barbecues once a week. The week of the 4th is an exception. Around 50 15-pound shoulders will go through the 20-hour process it takes to become a Russell Special.
Isn't barbecuing a lot of work?
Man, it's so much, it's just, yeah, it's plenty of work. That's all it is to it, work, hard work, manual labor.
But you like it?
Yeah, sometimes.
How would you describe your barbecue?
Well, it's delicious, it's tasty, it's good, it's fresh, and it's hickory smoked, the real McCoy.
Russell also barbecues turkeys, chickens, and goats on request. And this year, a pound of Russell's old-fashioned pork barbecue will cost you $5 a pound.
If you're looking for that old-fashioned hickory-flavored barbecue, then W.J. Russell's a man you need to see because he's got some of the best around. And don't forget to ask for his, hold it up, special sauce. And
my famous good old homemade coleslaw that goes good and makes a delicious sandwich.
At Russell's Pit Barbecue, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. I don't know how to cook, but I sure know how to eat.
They're all right, Randy. They just got through doing them yesterday. Still got bad lamp, though. I mean, a bad lamp.
This could very well be any farm in America, with horses, a chicken house, hog pen, dairy barn, a lake, and boys pitching in to do their chores. Well, this farm, however, consists of one big family. 36 boys aging from 6 to 18 call this Morgan County farm home. This is the Sheriff's Boys Ranch located in Pumpkin Center near Danville.
Well, James, the Boys Ranch is a home for kids that are dependent and neglected. Through no fault of their own, they just wind up without a place to live.
It's not uncommon for kids just to show up out here at the ranch. We have had occasions when people just dropped them off at the mailbox with their belongings and said they're yours.
What can y'all do for a boy here?
We can offer him stability of a home. We have a mom and pop here and the other kids and all of his needs. We furnish everything that the child needs out here.
Since 1971, this 400-acre farm has served as a home for many unwanted and abused children. Today, boys like Jermaine, Travis, and Randy can all grow up in a real family surroundings while experiencing the time of their life.
It's a place for kids that's, ain't got nowhere to go, kids that needs a chance. And I think since I've been here, it's changed my life a lot for me.
You miss anything about being out here?
Not really, but my little brother, that's the only thing.
It's not just a home for the boys here at the Boys Ranch like Jermaine, James, and Travis. For those boys who live here, it is home. In Pumpkin Center at the Sheriff's Boys Ranch, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
James and Georgie Stanfield have been married for almost a year. They're as happy as any newlyweds could possibly be. The Stanfields, however, face a big obstacle wherever they go. You see, James is about 6 feet even and weighs around 215 pounds. Georgie is 3 feet 11 and weighs only 45 pounds. An unlikely pair, but only to those who don't know them.
I remember one time we went to the was it the circus or something, and a lady said, would you like to win a prize for your daughter? And James said, no, she's my wife.
About the only complaint James has about his tiny woman is her driving. Besides that, everything has gone just super since the wedding, except there are still those who constantly stare and ask questions.
Well, some of them are just flabbergasted. They just, some just stare at me, and some of them just can't get over it and say, oh, she's so cute, she's a little doll, and you're just trying to keep the smile on your face, and thank you. Sure, I'm small, but I just feel that I'm just like anybody else. I can do the same things you do.
But you're cute.
Thank you.
Georgie was born 20 years ago today. She weighed 2 pounds and 11 ounces and was 16 inches long. She was diagnosed as having Silver syndrome. Being small is something she's learned to live with. Georgie also belongs to the Little People of America Association and is one of the bigger members of the organization.
Well, if Georgie will learn to drive a little better and James will keep mowing the yard, Georgie and James should have a normal marriage like everyone else, though they may take a few shortcuts. In the Beulah community, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. You know, George, your purse is about as big as you are.
I know it.
Which one watermelon? You don't want any watermelon?
Yeah.
Which one you want?
I like the striped ones for the bag.
For the folks in and around Athens, the place to be on Tuesday and Saturday mornings is the Athens Farmers Market. Well, this is a place where the early risers gather to discuss the weather and check out the crops.
Get beans, peas, watermelon, cantaloupe, butter beans, anything you want. Even down hot pepper.
A bushel of green beans, $11. You got a bushel of purple whole peas with $8. And you got a half a bushel of Mexican.
For sellers like Arvin Jackson, the farmer's market is a good place to display and distribute his pride and joy, what he's been growing.
I really enjoy it.
You get a pride out of growing this stuff?
Yeah, sure do. Get a bigger pride out of selling it, I guess. But I have a lot of fun with it.
One of Jackson's main helpers happens to be his 4-year-old grandson, Michael Paul. He's a born salesman.
Watermelons are $3 each.
Or how much?
$3 each.
$3 each.
Uh-huh.
Are they good watermelons?
They're good. I don't like them.
What?
I don't like them too good.
You don't like them too good?
No.
So if you're looking for the best watermelons and fresh produce, come to the Athens Farmers Market. But you better get here early for the best selection. Right? Right. In Athens, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Right?
What?
You did good.
The Morgan County town of Hartselle usually has a population of about 10,000. Saturday, the 10,000 or so and all their friends and relatives gathered downtown to join the festivities of one of the state's biggest celebrations.
Plenty, get one, plenty.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a hand to Marilyn Powell Green from Coldwater, Tennessee.
Years ago, when cotton was king, the mule was man's best friend. Well, he still is in Hartselle, or at least he was Saturday when he was honored in the annual Mule Day Parade. A parade that featured mules, donkeys, horses, and even a weatherman. The parade had it all.
Jamie, it's a chance for us to remember our roots, so to speak. This is a rural community, and we're proud that cotton was king here one day and that the mule was a big part of our workforce. And it is a dying way of life, unfortunately, and we're trying to remember those days.
Hartselle was once known as a mule town. For old-timers like Bill Wiley, Saturday's parade brought back memories.
Like it used to be here. I used to see this all the time.
Sometimes during the 1930s, motorized tractors helped make the mule's life much easier and a whole lot less popular.
Of course, the main thing after a Mule Day parade is you want to stay on the sidewalk and out of the middle of the street. Come on through here.
You're standing in a good place.
I know it. It'll save you a lot of embarrassment later. Been hard for Mule Day. I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Come on, Abby, let's get across here.
Saturday was one of the most exciting days ever in the Winston County town of Double Springs. Folks came from everywhere to witness history repeat itself as Winston County succeeded from the state temporarily for a day. The parade was the highlight of the celebration called the Free State of Winston. It was here in 1861 that the folks of Winston County decided to secede from the Union rather than take sides in the Civil War. Winston never succeeded and tried to remain neutral. And though it's been well over 100 years ago, the Free State of Winston business was still a hot topic Saturday.
You think Winston County ought to be a free state now?
Sure do. I've been here all my life.
And you think this place ought to be a free state?
Yeah, we can vote like we want to then.
Most people tried to vote it wet several times. There's too many bootlegger supporters.
You know what this free state business is all about?
Why, sure they'd love to be a state.
Why?
Well, Winston is proud of themselves.
Yeah, I think we the last one went in England. I ain't positive.
Well, the free state of Winston is where I am, deep in the heart of Alabama.
For some of the folks here in Winston County, they'd still like to secede from the Union and become a free state.
Free state.
Well, they didn't do it in 1861, and it's a good bet they're not going to do it now. In Winston County, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
Winston's where I am, deep in the heart of Alabama. It's between Jasper and Russellville, and I live here and I always will.
Right.
Free state of Winston, Alabama, USA.
Right, to go, way to go. Thank you.
You just don't come to Guntersville unless you stop and shop at the town's most popular store, Hammers. A local landmark, Hammers has been in business since 1941. Well, you could say Hammers was the original discount outlet and never really knew it. If you've never been in Hammers, you're in for a treat. Easter candy to moon pies, shoe polish to toothpaste, men's briefs to jams, shirts, shoes, and caps, collectible dolls to toilet tissue, all in one old building with wooden floors.
Oh, it's a great place to shop. We come every week. They have a new bargain every week here.
So you like it?
Oh, yes, I sure do.
Would you say it's a little unusual?
Well, it is. It's kind of an adventure when you come in here.
I do like Hammers. I come to Hammers every time I come to town. I've got to come in Hammers before I shop anyplace else.
This is the large and extra large, medium, small.
Al Fant's been with Hammers the past 34 years. To him, there's no other place quite like his, and no one would disagree.
We buy a lot of unusual stuff and sell unusual stuff, and most everybody gets a kick out of coming and looking.
You know, you're probably the landmark of Guntersville.
Well, we like to think that. We like to think we're the only rival to the lake. The lake is the best draw. We like to think we're the second best draw.
There ain't nothing fancy about Hammers, but you will find just about anything you're looking for here. But to be honest with you, Guntersville just wouldn't be the same without Hammers. Too big. At Hammers in Guntersville, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
Now all I'm doing right here is putting the value down. I'm not going to count out the beats in the measure yet. Y'all check and make sure if I'm right. Herman, am I
As
right?
school campuses go, this one was certainly different. And not only are most of the classes held outside, but the only thing taught is music.
I want to think of heaven, the place where Jesus lived.
Started 12 years ago by Walt Chaney of Huntsville, the Southeastern Singing School holds classes 1 week during the summer at Camp Nayotte near Guntersville. The week-long camp is the only one of its kind in the country. This year's enrollment consisted of some 90 students from across the nation.
There's within my heart a melody, Jesus whispers sweet and low.
They're learning how to look at a piece of music and read the rhythm, how to use hand motions to keep a rhythm, maintain a rhythm, how to lead other people in singing and understanding what the song is saying and lyric interpretation.
Oh, precious is the flow.
What's singing do for you?
It's a high of some kind. I don't know. It just lifts me up above all my problems and sorrows. It's just a wonderful thing for me.
The Southeastern Singing School is open to everyone, and a year from now, these same songs will be heard once again coming from the outdoor classes on the banks of the Tennessee River.
After a week's stay here at the Southeastern Singing School, you're guaranteed to go away with a greater love for music, and you should be able to sing like a bird. On Lake Guntersville at the Southeastern Singing School, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
Each and every morning as the sun comes up, Alabama's only licensed goat dairy is ready for business. AJJ Goat Dairy and Farm in Limestone County is the first of its kind in the state to hold a license to sell pasteurized grade A goat milk. Owned and operated by Charles and Leona Asbury, AJJ Goat Dairy is fully capable of producing 45 gallons of goat milk daily. The Asburys got their first couple of goats nearly 10 years ago. Today, their bunch totals 108. 44 of the French Alpine and Oberhasky goats are milked twice a day, every day.
Well, if I tell you that each one of them has a name and I call it by its name, and this is Rosalie right here, and she's got little freckles, and I'm likely to kiss her freckles, why, yeah, I'd say I was attached to her.
How good is goat milk for you?
Oh, goat milk is super for you. There's nothing, it doesn't make you go bah, like so many people seem to think.
The goat milk is not yet available in stores, but it does sell for around $3.50 a gallon here on the farm.
It's just a matter of time now before you'll be able to get AJJ goat milk at your nearest grocer. Ask for it by name. Right, Ari? Tell them Ari sent you. Matter of fact, goat milk is not as bad as you think. It's fresh. Matter of fact, it's quite good. At AJJ Goat Dairy, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Goat milk. It's good for you.
42-year-old Jim Dinges, an automotive engineer at the Arsenal by trade, spends a lot of his spare time with his son Jeff and the Rocket City BMX Association. Since last September, Dinges himself has really gotten involved. He's currently third in the nation in the over 40 class. That's not bad for a guy who's competing with a separated shoulder. These days, the Dinges, along with other BMX racers, are running their bikes more at the newly remodeled Ditto BMX track. The track was originally built in 1982, but recently County Commissioner Jerry Craig did a complete renovation on the track with some 300 loads of dirt and a lot of work.
The fellas that over the BMX track here in Huntsville got with me and talked about the number of children that were involved in racing here in our area, and the condition of the track was not very well, and they wanted me to help them build a new track. And so we just fell in here and went to work with their advice and our manpower and built this facility.
Well, did you learn anything about BMX racing?
Yeah, I learned it could be lots of fun if you're physically able, and those children really enjoy it, and I really like to watch them, and being close to children, I like to try to help them.
This track will be the site for the BMX State Championship later in September. In the meantime, it's open to everyone as long as you're on a non-motorized bike.
BMX racing is not just for kids, it's for big kids like us too. And now that Huntsville has one of the best BMX tracks in the state, thanks to the Rocket City BMX Association and Commissioner Jerry Craig, well, everybody can ride. Besides that, it's good exercise. At Ditto Landing, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Go! Sucker.
As schools go, Summit was an exception. Built in 1939 from cobblestone from a nearby farm, the sharecroppers who made up the community practically built the school. In 1940, Wallace Murphy was hired as principal to oversee the 4 teachers and the 140 students for $50 a month, almost all of which was reinvested right back into the school. Today, parts of the old school are in shambles, but thanks to the community and the volunteer fire department that now calls the school home, Summit School should be saved from becoming nothing but a memory.
This is a disaster. All this junk in here.
Murphy and his wife Irma, a second-grade teacher here for more than 3 decades, lived in the teachery behind the school for 29 years. For them, the school as it is now is a depressing sight, but still full of memories.
Well, it isn't attractive at all, but I still love this room. I still love this room.
I think the first child I ever paddled, I got, we were signing up for sugar stamps back in those days, you know, and I had 2 little boys got into scrap, and so I didn't say anything.
Students like Ginger Isom remember the good old days well.
I remember going up the hill and bringing in the firewood in the afternoons to start the fires in the mornings in the winter months. and I just remember the good times.
Summit School is certainly not what it once was. But if the folks around here have their way, this old school building will always be a part of this community. In Summit, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
Robert O. Johnson is a man on the go. He doesn't want anyone to ever have to wait on him.
My dog. Better relax. At ease.
All right. That's good. Real good. Turn your knees back.
When it comes to picture taking, there are few, if any, better than Robert O.
Something like that. That's
I'll do all four of you. Sure. Why? Best group yet, I promise.
He started in 1949 taking wedding pictures professionally. Today, working practically every weekend, he still works more than 200 weddings a year and is considered one of the finest photographers to ever snap a picture. But being in a town like Albertville, Robert O. and his cameras do a lot more than weddings. You name it, and Robert O. has probably photographed it.
All right, here we go. Real straight, if you will. Your smile on. You've had it. Thank you kindly.
No one has a profession that any better than I do. You don't make $1 million a day out of this thing, so forth. But it show me another profession where that you can satisfy and bring pleasure to somebody, get bragged on and paid at the same time. And that's a good combination when you get paid and bragged on too. A lot of people get paid for doing something, but they don't get bragged on.
To have your picture taken by Robert O. Johnson is more than just a picture. It's really an experience, and it's one you'll always treasure. At Robert O. Studio in Albertville, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. I think I've been framed.
Where's Miss Wing?
She said she's going back to the shade.
I told her, wanted her to come on and go with us to see the wagon, no.
One thing about Doc Partridge, he loves showing folks his farm.
14 foot long, 4 foot wide that way, and I can walk up and down inside the wagon with my hat on.
CF Doc Partridge, practically blind the past 10 years, lays claim to raising some of the largest mules in the country. Those who've seen them don't dispute his claim.
Come here, Hattie! Come here, Hattie! Come on, princess!
On his 40-acre farm in Boaz, a 75-year-old former veterinarian, Doc Partridge has some 30 jacks, jennies, and Belgian horses. Now, Doc seldom sells a mule. He's a breeder mostly. What he really prefers is to show them off. And though he can't see them that well, he takes great pleasure in knowing his visitors can.
Think you make a pretty good fire, Floyd? Now I've just been with them all my life, and they just part of it, and that's about all I can say. Been fooling with them, making a living, fooling livestock. Used to, the county agent would set up new clinics, and I'd go from one crossroad community to another and filing the teeth and worming them in the spring of the year.
Partridge has some of the finest mules in the world here. Just ask him. Most of them aren't for sale. He's just got them for feeding and playing with. That's what makes him happy. In Boaz, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
The place to be Wednesday night was Don's Lounge on the Blount-Etowah County line. Bartender Wanda Johnson, known locally as Wonder Woman because of her beer-toting capability, had packed the house in the dance hall to become the first woman in the state to challenge Ginger, the world champion wrestling bear.
Well, how come they call you Wonder Woman?
Well, because I do things that Wonder Woman does, I guess.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Ginger, the world's champion wrestling bear. I want to know one thing tonight. How many people come out to see the bear wrestle tonight?
Ginger, a 15-year-old, 750-pound black bear, had never been defeated in a wrestling match. This night would be no different as several local hotshots took a turn before the main match with Wonder Woman.
We've been doing this, like I said, for 15 years, and we've never had a bad night. Just people come out of the woodworks whenever you have it. You know, you seem like you'll have a little town with 200 or 300 population. Next thing you know, you run it and you're full. The building's full of people in there.
It didn't take Wonder Woman long to realize she'd be much better off to stick to toting beer by the case than wrestling bears.
How was it, Wanda?
It's alright.
It was all right?
It's alright.
I guess if Wonder Woman can wrestle a bear, anybody can. It's just that not many people can win, right?
I wasn't expecting to win.
In Blood County, have your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Go get her again, Wonder Woman.
Am I walking?
Clyde Hand uses his hands a lot. He's an egg picker by trade. He picks up about 3,500 eggs a day at a local chicken house. For play and relaxation, old Clyde's hands are busy again. Clyde's a fiddler.
Too hard in here.
Now, Clyde's an outdoor fiddler, and his fiddling can be seen and heard by just about anyone who happens by his place in the Sims community of Marshall County. And if Clyde's fiddling doesn't get your attention, his son Butch certainly will with one of his strange pets that I guess like fiddle music. The first thing you notice about Clyde's fiddling is, well, he ain't all that good, and he knows it.
That's another cloudy day.
How good of a fiddle player are you?
I ain't worth a thing.
Huh?
That's
You ain't worth a what?
I ain't worth a flip. That's an unclouded day I just played there. Tried to.
Clyde's not only an egg picker and fiddle player, he's also a lawnmower and car repairman. Well, that is when he's not fiddling.
Clyde Hand certainly ain't no Jeff Cook when it comes to playing the fiddle, but he is good enough to satisfy himself, and that's really all that matters. In the Sims community of Marshall County, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
Now I get no money out of this?
I don't know, you're pretty good. Hit it again.
Dewey Terry of Decatur is one of those rare individuals who can do most anything. And not only does he repair and play guitars and fiddles, he also operates a transmission shop, all out of the same building. Dewey's Music and Transmission Shop on the Beltline. If you look real close, you'll see that fiddle Dewey's a playing looks like a walking stick. And it is. It's a regular hickory walking stick converted into an electric fiddle. Dewey calls his invention the electric fiddle stick. It sells for about $200.
We all can play?
No, well, it looks like it is the way I'm sweating here now, but I tell everybody I don't sweat much for a fat boy, but I'm sweating today. But it's just like a regular fiddle.
Not only did Dewey Terry invent the fiddle stick, but he raised his own band as well. With 5 sons, Dewey figured he could count on them when he needed them. Tim on piano, Scotty on bass, Kurt the mandolin, and Tatum and Zeke in training. Dewey Terry and his family band will be performing Labor Day at the Big Terry Club reunion in Cortland, electric fiddle stick and all.
It doesn't matter to the Terry family whether they're playing regular instruments or walking sticks. They can play anything. They're good. In Decatur, for the Terry family, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Time to walk on out of here.
When I ain't doing this, I'm just lost. I can't sit down. I get out of bed of the morning at 5:30, leave the house at 6.
72-year-old Tom Hot Rod Parker knows what it's like to work for a living. For the past 5 years on a daily basis, Hot Rod Parker's been wheeling his homemade pickup up and down the busy streets of Decatur. His pickup, made of the insides of an old refrigerator and his honeymoon bed rails, is really something special.
Well, it's just like driving a car. There's a lot of pleasure to it.
You think as much of that car as you do a pickup truck?
I wouldn't give it for one.
You wouldn't give it for what?
A pickup for my own use.
Parker has no complaints about his daily routine. It sure beats staying home and doing nothing.
Yes, sir. It's pretty good work, but it's just mostly that you just keep from doing nothing.
Mostly what?
Keep from doing nothing. And I just ain't gonna sit down. I mean,
Hot Rod Parker claims he's worn out many a pairs of shoes picking up cans through the years. He plans on wearing out a whole lot more. So just keep throwing them cans out. In Decatur with Hot Rod Parker, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
pretty on the other side, I don't think. Yeah, it matches up pretty good, doesn't it?
Labor Day weekend in Scottsboro is traditionally the busiest weekend of the year. Folks come from just about everywhere to buy, sell, or trade as they walk around the Scottsboro Courthouse Square.
Way down in Columbus, Georgia, wanna be back in Tennessee. Way down in Scottsboro, Alabama, friends have turned back on me.
Now, there's something for everyone at First Monday Trade Day. For folks like Floyd Beavers, it's a chance to show off a bit and have a good time. For others like George Evitt, First Monday's a bargain hunter's dream, just as he is a Cameras.
You come here a lot?
Yeah, come here every First Monday.
What all can somebody find up here?
Everything, I reckon.
You chew tobacco a lot?
Oh boy, I eat it.
You eat it?
Yeah.
Well, do a commercial for me of that chewing tobacco thing. So you like chewing tobacco?
Hell yeah.
One thing about walking around the square here on Scottsboro, you might not buy anything, but you will work up a good appetite, right?
That's right.
Crunch into that thing. Fresh meat skin. Right?
Good,
They sure are.
ain't going without eating another.
Can't eat one without eating another. That's right. Eat you another one. Scottsboro First Monday. I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. These are good, ain't they?
Yes, good.
Jack's never been used.
Audrey King is somewhat an unusual character. He built this house in Coleman County 4 years ago himself. His home is a nice, very comfortable house with all the conveniences you and I have, except King's home is built of hay.
I want to get down here and dig him out some hay. Give a little bit. That's hay.
485 regular bales of hay, in place of the conventional studs, make up the construction of King's home. The stucco exterior gives King's home an ordinary look on a not-so-ordinary house.
My house is 3 times the strength of a conventional home. It's documented proof, and basically won't burn, and yours will, and it costs 50% less to build, roughly.
There's more to the Audrey King story than just a hay house. This is King's bicycle boat, designed to bike and float at the same time. It's King's intention to pedal his way across the Bermuda Triangle sometime next year to bring national attention to his hay house. The 46-year-old King also has cancer, and this is his way to let the world know, before it's too late, just what Audrey King is all about.
I'm doing it because I feel like that I need to in order for the world to find out about the hay house. This house does exist. It's a great house, and I think the people in America need it.
Audrey King's got a bicycle boat and a hay house. He's either plain crazy or genius, and only time will tell. In Good Hope, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
Lloyd Hitt doesn't mind a little hard work, and neither do his friends and neighbors of the Midway community of Lawrence County. Hitt and friends got together to make molasses, or sorghum syrup if you prefer, the old-fashioned way.
We just want something good to eat, and they always said the more trouble you have with it, the better it was. So,
you believe that?
Well, it'd make you enjoy them.
Syrup making is not the easiest job around, and these days you just don't see it made like this much at all. For folks like 95-year-old Legina Perry, this brought back memories of the good old days in the sorghum patch.
Had to strip it, cut the heads off, and then grind it, and then boil it up. Make syrup out of it.
Was it good?
Yes, it's good.
This was the first time in almost 20 years that the Hitts had made molasses. Chief syrup maker 86-year-old Lois Hitt claims there's nothing better in the winter than a biscuit, hot butter, and homemade molasses. And he's eating his share.
Ever eaten any sorghum?
More than a hog, I guess. That's what they used to raise kids on.
What's that?
That's homemade syrup.
Making sorghum syrup hasn't changed much through the years. It just costs a little more these days. However, it's still a whole lot of work. In the Midway community of Lawrence County, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Y'all don't need no help, do you?
We can stand a little.
Terry Fowler of Fife specializes in handcrafted oak fixtures. Fowler, along with his wife Martha and father-in-law Tommy Jones, have made themselves quite a name in oak products. But the most prized piece of oak is not in the workshop or hanging in some fancy store. It's in the driveway. It's the Tokyo Woody. What originally was a 1973 3/4-ton Toyota pickup a year and a half ago with a severe rust problem is now the most looked-at truck ever to travel the roads of DeKalb County. Built entirely of oak from the chassis up, excluding the engine, Tokyo Woody is a cabinet maker's dream on wheels.
What's the disadvantage to have a wooden truck?
Disadvantage, I don't know. Advantages would be if you have a wreck somewhere on the side of the road, you just stop and cut down a tree and repair the truck and come on home.
As far as a full line of handcrafted solid oak automobiles go, well, Fowler and Jones say it just takes too much time. But you never have to worry about rust.
The Toyota Woody is definitely one of a kind, and in addition to having a regular maintenance, it also has termite inspection. Besides, it's also theft-proof. Knock on wood. In Fife, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
Bob Cohen is sort of in the bird business. On his 43-acre farm in Fife, Cohen has all sorts of chickens, exotic birds, turkeys, and geese. Not to mention a horse or two, maybe 3 or 4. But it's his birds that really attract attention. The big ones, that is.
Well, the most showy pair because they stay out there by the road and people drive by and they slam on their brakes here and they come on in and they look and they see the birds out there and they'll get out. I've had people climb the fence and gone out and seen them, made them climb the fence back.
Cohen is also the proud owner of 4 emules, and they practically have the run of the ranch.
So I just enjoy taking care of them and seeing them, keeping them, and having different kinds of birds. Find them fascinating.
What is it about an emu? I mean, why is it you don't see many more of them around here?
They're not of much of use for anything. They're just not much good for anything except looking at, as far as I can tell. They're a nuisance in Australia. They actually hunt them to keep them out of farmers' crops and things.
Cohen's birds and animals, and he has plenty, for the most part were all given to him, and he has no intention of parting with a single feather.
Bob Cohen's not exactly old MacDonald, but he's close, and who cares if the emus aren't the prettiest birds alive? They are interesting. Hey, ugly. In Fife, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Watch the fingers there.
Before most of you have even gotten up, breakfast is already being served at one of this area's best-known eateries, Eunice's.
You can be a complete stranger in here and feel at home. And the food's good, too.
Here's the one that gives me a good hug. Come here. Come here, boy.
Nothing fancy, but good old country cooking at its very best. For almost 35 years, Eunice Merrill has been operating her near-legendary restaurant, which serves breakfast only till 1 p.m. at the same location on Andrew Jackson in Huntsville. One of 12 children, Eunice knows firsthand about feeding a big family, and serving a good breakfast is what Eunice's is all about.
Well, my mother was a mother of 12 children. I was brought up in a large family, and my mother cooked like we do, and I learned from my mother. We cooked just like Mother did.
So you ate good in those days?
We ate good in those days. We were poor folks, farm people, but we had plenty to eat. That's the one thing we had.
Country ham and homemade biscuits, down-home goodness and a homey atmosphere. All make breakfast at Eunice's something to remember.
There's certainly no place quite like Eunice's for a good country breakfast. And tomorrow morning, bright and early at 6:30 a.m., Gary Dobbs and me will be here serving breakfast to help benefit the Arthritis Foundation. So y'all come see us. Right, Eunice?
Right. Thank you, Jamie.
At Eunice's, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
How can you do it at 50 years old?
Like I said, you get hungry, you got to do it.
This is work.
Yeah, that's work. That's work, but it'll keep you in shape and keep you out of maintenance on it. What's up, Dan?
Few places can you go today and find man and beast working together as partners making a living. Clarence Clemens and Charles Pritchett and their horses work together on a daily basis.
Come on, buddy. Come over here a minute. Up out of that hole. Up here, Henry.
It's not easy work logging in the mountains of Jackson County, but it is a living and a hard one.
Well, it's dangerous and it's hard work.
You ever get tired of doing it?
You get tired of doing anything you do.
You sleep on your side of the bed.
Make you what? I couldn't hear you.
It'll make you sleep on your side of the bed.
From sunup to sundown, up and down mountainous logging trails. Snaking logs with real horsepower requires patience and old-timey know-how. This is no place for a machine.
If there ever was a definition for hard work, logging with horses like this is it. Believe me, this is the hardest work I've ever been associated with. In Jackson County, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Whew.
77-year-old Howard Jackson has spent the biggest part of his life right here operating Brown & Company, a true-to-life country store that was named some 50 to 60 years ago after a former partner. Howard Jackson, like clockwork, is here every day. He knows all about what's happening in and around the Marshall County community of Martling.
She's not, she's a lot better than she was, but she's not really, able to.
How long do you figure you'll operate the store?
Well, I don't know. I might live to be 100. You can't tell. I've been here a long time.
Howard Jackson's store ain't a whole lot to look at. The worn-out old building is every bit 70 to 80 years old, and it looks it. But Jackson's not in the business for his looks. He's not even interested in new customers.
What'd you say about customers?
I said, hell, I got all I need.
You don't want no more customers?
Well, I don't. If a cash customer would be all right.
But you don't want no more credit customers?
Hell no. Let's get it. Get them tubs.
When Jackson first started to work at the store, a slop jar sold for around 98 cents. Today, a good slop jar sells for $11.95. Times have changed.
Howard Jackson ain't exactly got a supermarket here. It's more of a museum. But he's got all the business he wants, and besides, he's the boss. In Martland, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Is it hard being your own boss?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No.
You then
They come from everywhere to the Athens Old Time Fillers Convention. They come to see folks like 84-year-old Claude Cassidy of Fort Payne and his older brother Carl. There's something for everyone at the Fillers Convention. A look and a listen is all it takes.
Has that ever been used for anything else?
No, sir.
Perhaps the most unusual instrument, if not the simplest, was the one used by Thomas Maupin, a 3/4-inch piece of plywood. Maupin and his two brothers know how to make plywood sing and draw a good crowd.
I learned him every lick he ever knows.
You do?
I'm his brother, 4 years older than he is.
You as good as he is?
I hope to be.
They say if you want to do some good flat-foot buck candy, get up here now. The only thing to use is good 3/4-inch plywood because an inch just won't get it. I only have the rhythm. In Athens at the Old Time Fillers Convention. I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Once already spoken.
And now, as far as right.
R.E. Buddy Raby is a man with a problem.
I got a problem.
Raby's problem is he's the owner of 1,800 muscadine vines, and each and every one is ripe and ready right now.
How big a problem have you got?
10 acres problem. Nothing, just millions of muscadines getting ripe all at the same time. And we need some people in here to pick. It's a, like I said, a pick your own operation.
Due to a very late frost back in the spring, Raby's 10-acre muscadine vineyard is about a month and a half behind schedule. Now Raby has muscadines, millions of them, practically running out of his ears.
Those things pretty good, aren't they?
Real good. It's just no taste like it. It's about the best tasting thing you ever seen. If you ever want to put a good taste in the guy's mouth, give him a muscadine.
You can pick all you want at the Raby Wright Vineyard in Limestone County. Now they'll cost you 60 cents a pound, but you'll make Buddy Raby feel a whole lot better.
This stuff safe to drink?
Yes, right.
Nothing quite like a good stiff drink of pure muscadine juice to get you up and going. Going where, I don't know. So if you're looking for some good muscadines, get over to Raby Wright Vineyard. This weekend will be a good time because he's got millions of them ripe and ready, right?
Right, you're right.
At Raby Wright Vineyard, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. How about I'll get me another shot of this?
Carry on.